I've been simplifying my life for multiple years now, and I feel like the more I have let go of things that don't anymore serve me, the more I have started to understand myself and my priorities better and focus on things that actually matter. Today I sat down and the idea was to reflect and list down around 20 things that I have quit. But then I went for a walk and they just kept coming, so I decided to keep going. Some of these ended up being very practical things, some are very deep things, we could say. So feel free to get inspiration from this video. No pressure to quit everything I have on this list. Here are 50 things I quit to simplify my life. The first one is always trusting my memory. I have now understood that I cannot remember anything, probably not even half of the things that people tell me. Nowadays, to get them out from my head, I write basically everything down, whether it's a meeting, a thing I have to do tomorrow, or remember to do if something happens a year from now or whatever. I need to write everything down because otherwise I will either forget them, or if I don't forget them, I will keep thinking about them until that thing happens, and that's not really healthy either. The second thing I quit was the need for material things, and especially in this status sense that I need to get these things in order to be approved or in order to feel that I am successful or happy in my life or something like this. Now I understand that it comes from very different things than those. You could always get more, but I believe that actually less is more. The third one is upgrading technology all the time. It actually feels very good to jump out of this technology upgrades, all of this like hamster wheel, and just be grateful for whatever I have and not upgrade it every year to something new. The fourth one is quite interesting, especially as a minimalist, and that's trying to keep home always clean and tidy. It's, in my opinion, very much impossible that it's always looking like picture perfect. For example, now while filming this video, I had to move a couple of things from this table. I believe you sometimes have to accept a little bit of mess to keep things simplified in your headspace. The fifth one is keeping clothes in my closet I don't use. So basically having clothes that don't serve me anymore, just in case one day I will need them or something like that. I now try to declutter every year at least twice, go through all my clothes and see have I actually used them, do they bring value to me or not, and if no, so I don't use them, then I just donate them. I could talk about this fifth one actually so much more, but I will move on. We have a long list. Keeping files on my PC I don't use. I remember basically never decluttering my PC or laptop. It was full of just junk, and it took a long time to go through everything, but now once I did, I'm so happy. It's so much easier to find whatever I'm searching. The seventh thing I quit was the need for unlimited productivity. I used to believe that there's some life hacks or secrets that you can stay productive for 24 hours in a day or something like that, but now I don't anymore care about that too much. I have accepted that I cannot always be 100% productive. There are better days and there are worse days. The eighth one is bullet journal. I very much like how they are manual or analog. I don't know which word I could use to describe those, but you have to do those yourself and not, for example, print stuff like I have done here. But they just require so much work. For me, that doesn't make my life simple. I tried bullet journaling and it took so much time to get started and keep the habit going that it ended up being very counterproductive for me. Very good if you are artistic and creative like that, but I'm not, so cannot do it. The ninth one is just in case purchases. I am sure you know what I mean. It's very self-explanatory, so let's leave it at that. The 10th one is apps I don't use. I don't know if I'm Gen Z or millennial. I'm kind of in between, but this generation, you grow up with technology, and that means that you are very familiar and like to use apps to simplify your life. I've had so many of these apps that I used just once and then I didn't need anymore, but then it stayed there. So nowadays, always, for example, after a trip, I needed an app in a country to access some service, for example, I make sure to delete it after that trip if I know that I'm not going to that place in a while. Number 11, buying new clothes. This is something that I stopped quite a long time ago. Of course, there are some exceptions here and there, but nowadays I aim to buy secondhand clothes from thrift shops if I need clothes. I try to always get rid of something or declutter, donate some piece of clothes if I'm buying a new one, or new meaning from a secondhand shop. Number 12 is newsletters I don't read. Many times we get into a certain topic or passion, interest, and we subscribe to these newsletters to learn more about it, and I think that that's fine, completely healthy. But once you stop being interested in that, or you don't read the newsletter in general, I think it's useful if you just scroll down and click unsubscribe, because otherwise you get constant notifications and it's just creating clutter in your email inbox. Number 13 is one of those deeper ones that I mentioned before, and that is trying to be extraordinary. Now, I'm very happy with living just a simple life. I don't need anything really flashy or become super important person in my life or anything like that. I'm very fine to just be me. Number 14 is alcohol. This is something I quit probably at the same time when I started minimalism. So like 7 years ago, something like that. Nowadays, I drink every now and then when there's, for example, a party, but it's not anymore a habit that I go to grocery store and buy some drinks. I don't do that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with alcohol necessarily if you know how to drink it, but I just don't see that it's bringing any value in my life, so why would I do that? Buying second-hand shoes. So I just mentioned I buy a lot of second-hand stuff, but I realized that shoes are actually a thing that many times don't fit very well if they are bought secondhand and maybe the quality is not the best. Then you buy them and they don't fit, they feel weird, they cause you blisters, and then you have to declutter them again, so actually they don't simplify your life at all. Number 16, others' opinions about my lifestyle. I believe whatever is your lifestyle or what changes you are going to make to it or have made to it, people always seem to have comments about it, telling you what you should do or how it's wrong or right or whatever. And nowadays, whether it's positive or whether it's negative, I just try to not care about it too much. I know myself the best, and that's it. Of course, I'm happy to learn new things and everything, but listening to that critique isn't always healthy. Reading 2 books at the same time. I tried it. It's incredibly difficult for me because I get confused and then forget what I learned. So nowadays I just stick to 1 book at a time. Number 18, juggling multiple career paths. I'm not sure if this applies to many of you or you would be interested in this, but I made this decision to just pursue what I'm doing now. So YouTube, content creation, and forget about everything else for a while and see what happens. Simplify the career area of my life, so to say. And this was to have actually the full focus here and not always think that there's a better job, there's a better career for me, and always have kind of 1 leg in this and 1 leg out. I don't even know if that's an English saying, but hopefully you understand what I mean. And the next one is quite related to this, having multiple hobbies at the same time. I find it difficult to focus in general in my life, I guess, to doing multiple things at the same time. So with hobbies, I have these kind of seasonal periods that during winter I have certain hobbies and during summer certain hobbies, and then I try to not mix them. It's just easier for my mind, and it's always nice to go back to that hobby and you don't get bored. Number 20 is cutting from sleep. I don't think if you want extra time, you should take it from sleep. I think in the long run that will not be sustainable and is probably quite unhealthy as well. Very much related to this, 21, working insanely long hours. I think there are certain periods in your life, times when you need to work more, but I don't think anybody can keep that on forever. Or if they can, then they have to really sacrifice some other area of their life in order to do that. And for me, that's not just something that I want to do. The 22nd thing that I quit to simplify my life was eating all the time. I did this experiment of intermittent fasting. So I stayed, how many hours? 16 hours? Yeah, it was 16 hours without eating, and then I had 8 hours of eating. Just because I felt like I'm so carb dependent. I needed to eat all the time. When I got hungry, it was insane, like the headaches and my body reacting immediately. And I was thinking this cannot be normal. I ran the experiment for around 30 days or until I basically felt that, okay, now I feel better, that I don't need to eat every 2 hours or otherwise I will be super grumpy. If you feel like food is controlling you as well, this is something that I suggest. 23, people that didn't respect me. I think this is as well quite self-explanatory, but in my opinion, part of simplifying life is also simplifying the social area of your life and letting go of those people that are not making you feel good, that are taking the confidence away from you rather than lifting it up. 24, social media, also related to the social area of life, I guess, and as well technology. But I quit Instagram, Facebook, I don't even have TikTok. I don't know what other social media, well, YouTube I use obviously, but all these apps where you just scroll and see other people having certain lifestyles, it wasn't really doing any good for my mental health, and now I live a very happy life without social media. So I suggest, for example, a 7-day detox to anybody who feel like social media is controlling their life. Number 25, wasting my time with call centers. You know, when people call you from call centers, they are selling you something, all that. I used to just be there and listen to them, afraid of saying no, and then when I say no, after 5 minutes, then they just find another way to sell you something or all that. So nowadays I don't waste their time, I don't waste my time. They say, hi, I'm calling from this and this company. I say,
hello, sorry, I'm not interested in your services. Have a nice day. Bye.
And many times I as well add there, I don't want to waste your time. So what I'm doing is kind of politely hanging up the call. Number 26 is unrealistic goals. Nowadays, when I set goals, I don't even do so many of them. And I make sure that they are so attainable that I know I can achieve them, or it might be a little bit difficult to achieve them, but I can do it, and not that I will be walking on the moon next year. It just makes my life so much more stressful if I set these kind of expectations for myself. I believe dreaming big is important, but as well being realistic is important. Trying to look or seem perfect. I remember when I was starting out making these YouTube videos, I cared so much about how they look or what people think or whatever, and nowadays it's just I'm documenting my life, I'm filming stuff and I'm posting it here, and this is my channel and all that. I don't really care if it's perfect or whatever, and I think that this same ideology is in many areas of my life now. Number 28, multitasking. This is something that I used to do a lot when I was working as a freelancer. I used to do 2 different tasks many times at the same time, and then listening to music or watching a tutorial video or things like that, and it was just so hard for my mind. I felt already after a few hours that I have had enough, I cannot continue. Now I try to single task much more. 29, newspaper. I grew up in a family where reading the morning paper was quite important, everybody did it, and we had the subscription, but now when I'm not living with my parents, obviously, anymore, I feel like it's not something I need and want to do in my life just because of the amount of clutter that comes from having that physical paper every day. I just don't feel like it's a good use of resources in general. Number 30, not reading emails. And this doesn't mean that I'm reading every email, it just means that whenever I get an email, I can delete it or mark it as read or then read it. I used to have thousands of unread emails, and you can imagine that when I actually get an important email, and if I don't read it immediately, it will just be lost in the sea of these thousands of unread emails very easily. So now what I do is, without many times even opening, if I know it's not an important email, I just click that it's now read. And doing this, my email inbox stays organized and simple. 31st thing that I quit was language learning, and here the keyword is priority setting. I really love languages, learning them and speaking them, but there's not always time for that. There are other priorities in life, and that's why this is something that I had to quit. So for you, the lesson is to try to understand your own priorities better, and sometimes you have to quit things you like so that you have the time for something that is actually more urgent in your life right now. Throwing away broken clothes. Of course I do that sometimes if they are really like completely ripped, but these days I try to fix things. We have the sewing machine at home, and I've been fixing my pants and my shirts and things like that. Whenever there's a little hole or if they don't fit me perfectly, I try to make them to fit and repair them rather than always just trashing them immediately. Number 33, meeting people all the time. I believe that this is important to be social and meet people, but also it's important to have time for yourself. And I don't want to set this expectation anymore for myself that I need to be socially active all the time. Not paying bills immediately. Nowadays I have a system that every time I get a bill in the mail, I open it and I pay it and then I put it away. Takes around 30 seconds or a minute max, and then it's out of my mind. Simplifies my life a lot. 35, caring about how I always look. These days when I'm going to the grocery store downstairs or anywhere near, I don't really care how I look. Like I can be in my pajamas still basically and going out. I just feel like it's waste of time always trying to make yourself look good, especially for others, because I'm fine with however I look. 36, forcing good habits. These days, if something isn't clicking, even though it's supposed to be good, I don't force myself to do it. I think this is very important to remember, especially with self-care habits, because there are not these one-size-fits-all habits that would be amazing for everyone. Next one is shopping for entertainment. This is something that I used to do when I was much younger, not in many years, but going to these shopping malls and getting things from there and just looking things around. Nowadays, when I go shopping, it's only for need. I just feel bad when I go shopping. Number 38 is overcommitting. So not saying no or having the courage to say no to people, being a people pleaser, basically. Number 39, keeping notifications always on. Sometimes these days I even get frustrated if I don't want to have the notifications and then I hear them when I forgot to put my phone on silent. For example, when I'm having an important meeting. Putting the phone, for example, on airplane mode is a habit that I suggest to anyone who wants to take control of their own focus. Staying subbed to channels I don't watch anymore, very YouTube related. Thing that I quit. Now I try to declutter my subscription, whatever it's called, subscriptions. Every now and then. I was very interested in this topic back then, but now I'm not anymore, so I just unsubscribe. Hopefully there are no hard feelings from the content creators. Number 41 is needing to be always happy. I want to give myself the right to have bad days and even bad weeks, bad months, bad periods overall. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I cannot always be happy and joyful, and that needs to be okay. Number 42, executing over enjoying. We can do things that we love and feel like we are just executing them like a robot, or we can enjoy while we are doing them. And we can many times even enjoy things we don't normally enjoy if we just let ourselves enjoy those things. Number 43 is interesting. Trying to know everything. This goes to all of those people who always want to be right. You don't know everything. It's a fact. So stop trying to know everything. I did it and it has changed my life completely. I have learned so many things, and there's much less fights these days when you don't always try to prove that you are right. 44, pushing my views on others. I live my own life. I have my own lifestyle, my own values, but that doesn't mean that everybody has to live that way. They can make decisions for themselves, and I can be there to listen to them and to guide them, but I don't want to be the person who pushes my own agenda or lifestyle to others necessarily. 45, very practical as well, bright lights in the evening. I cannot handle that. My eyes cannot handle bright lights. For example, watching TV with bright settings in the evening. I just cannot. I get very bad headache from that. So it's something that I quit. Number 46, washing my clothes after every use. I used to do this for multiple years, and the amount of laundry that you get if you always just put them in the laundry basket and wash, it's crazy. Number 47, forcing myself to finish things. I'm a person who believes that what you start needs to be finished, but now I have realized that it's not always like this. I have a very recent example of this. I was reading a book that was multiple hundreds of pages, and after 100 pages I just felt like I'm not enjoying this book at all. It's not a book for me. It had good reviews and everything, but I just don't like it. So I let myself not finish that book, and that's fine sometimes. The 48th thing that I quit was taking a shower every day. I had this habit to also take showers and wash myself fully, even on days that I didn't do much. I wasn't sweating or anything like that, and now I'm just trying to save time, resources, everything, be clean without wasting so much water. Then the two last ones, which are both very good in my opinion, that I wrote. Number 49, thinking I'm worth more if I wake up early. I used to really think like this. I don't know why exactly. I think it's these stories that are told to us that only lazy and unemployed people, thieves, wake up late in the morning or sleep in. This is things that I have heard actually. And now I have just realized that it doesn't matter what time I wake up. It doesn't define my worth at all if I wake up at 3:30 a.m. and go to the gym, or if I wake up like when normal people wake up. I'm worthy anyway. And the last one, number 50, planning every minute of my day. I don't think that this is the best way to be organized. It's just way too much. You can have a to-do list and that can be enough. That's what I do. If you watched this video until the end, I appreciate you so much. I made a video about the reason that stops so many people from simplifying life. If you would like to check it out, here is a link to that. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next video.